put together by Kingswood International Church, London. I'm delighted this morning to be joined by an esteemed group of panelists who will share with you their career journeys and what success tips they've put together to get to where they've gotten to today. Before we jump in, I'm gonna do a few housekeeping, Zoom meeting housekeeping rules. Please ensure that your microphone is mute. This will help to keep the background noise to the barest minimum. And make sure you mute your microphone if you are not speaking. When speaking, be mindful of background noise. When your microphone is not muted, please avoid activities that could create additional noise in the background, such as shuffling papers. If you do come on video, please maximize your camera. Be sure to join on a device that is in a stable position and focus at high level if possible. This creates a more direct sense of engagement with everyone on the session today. And try to limit distractions. You can make it easier to focus on the meeting by turning off notifications, closing or minimizing running apps, and muting your phone. A very, very warm welcome to you all again. This is Succeeding at and Beyond University version 2.0. A UK postgraduate degree is held in high regard by employers across the globe. International students studying in the UK are open to the opportunity to improve their employability, as well as immerse in the world-class community of academics and students. This event, as I said earlier, is the second in the Sabbath series for Kingswood London. The aim is to build awareness such that through a cognizance of intersectionality and its constraints, students can better recognize and pulverize, or at the very least, prep for the nuances pertinent to a UK postgraduate study and building on a follow-on career path post-study. So the central speaking points today will focus on how to progress here in the UK effectively. The speakers will demonstrate this via their own personal experience and talk to some of the differences that may exist if you're coming from a different country outside of the United Kingdom. This event also affords the opportunity for us to engage and connect with you as a community for future events as part of the events we roll out for Kingswood International Church, London. My name is Taiwo Yakin. I'm currently the head of culture and communications for the Group Financial Crime Hub at NatWest, which is one of the top 5 banks in the UK. I'm responsible for the enterprise-wide culture transformation in relation to financial crime. Before NatWest, I spent 10 plus years in several change and transformation roles in both the public and private sectors, including roles at the BBC, Transport for London, Legal in General, and American International Group. I'm also a well-regarded orator and an advocate for change in the workplace. I chair the London Gender Network and the Global Black Professionals Network at NatWest Group. I have a first-class BSc Honours from the University of Plymouth in Human Resource Management and IT, and a master's degree from the University of Oxford in Major Program Management. And I'm also a certified Prince 2 practitioner. So I'll be moderating the event today, and I'm delighted to introduce our first speaker on the panel this morning. David Anthony is a data consultant with over 11 years of experience within both profit and not-for-profit sectors, providing business insights to organizations in data-focused industries. David holds a master's in information technology with a focus on computing enterprise and is a Prince 2 certified practitioner. With delight and joy, I'm excited to welcome this morning, David Anthony. Over to you, David.
Thank you very much, Taiwo. Definitely glad to say it's great to be here. I was just thinking yesterday that if I sort of could have a look at my postgraduate self, how many years back ago, I think this is one of the platforms that have been a very great opportunity for me to attend. So, I mean, I'm just giving speaking to everyone who's joining, who's looking forward to this, that look, you're in great company, and please just, listen to what the speakers are about to say, and I'm sure there'll be avenues for you to connect to them. So I'm just going to be running through my postgraduate career highlights, and then how I sort of transition into the role that I'm currently doing right now. A lot of it's quite an interesting journey. if I take it back to the very beginning, you know, I mean, I have a BSc in biochemistry. You know, I mean, I have a very quirky career path. You know, so I have a BSc in biochemistry. This is very, very much science oriented. So I guess you guys will be probably thinking, also, why did you move? I mean, where did IT come into? You know, I kind of think of myself sometimes as an accidental data consultant because I sort of happened to fall into it, so to speak. But I mean, that's what I like to say. But really, I think I think our steps are definitely orchestrated. So as I take you through the journey, you probably see how I sort of moved into this, you know. So if you move to the next slide, then Tara, please. So this is just a brief overview of my career path. So back in December 2007, what happened? You know, after I was working. I mean, this is post NYSC. NYSC is I mean, most people understand what NYSC is, but it's a mandatory service that people in Nigeria, you know, students after university go on to, you know. So I'd finished this and I was working as a business developer in a company called Fleet Technologies in Nigeria, you know. But I think this, like, why I said that this was definitely orchestrated was because I think this was my first, you know, introduction into IT, so to speak. So it was a very IT-focused industry. I was working as a business developer, and I had a lot of interactions with some of the developers there, you know, and I got very interested in what they were doing. You know, there were data analysts there, there were C# developers, there were, you know, networking guys there, you know. So I think for me, I'd always sort of viewed myself as someone that was very good in numbers. So I think that's where the dream sort of started getting birthed, literally, you know. And I'd always wanted to pursue a further degree, a master's degree. So I decided to apply for a master's degree, and I got in. So December 2007, you know, I was obviously working in Nigeria, and it was a very, very short stint, but it was I was there, you know, for enough time to be able to get the needed understanding, needed little information to be able to apply for this course. You know, to apply for Masters in Information Technology, you know, and February 2008, boom, I started, you know, study began. For me, it was a very, very, very different experience compared to my BSc. And I'm as many of you understand, and a lot of you are probably doing masters here. I had to quickly understand that, look, the way of life. I mean, the way I sort of approached my studies back in when I was doing my BSc had to be very totally different for two reasons. One, it's a different environment, you know, different expectations, and number two, I was doing a course that was entirely very, very new to me. So I had a lot more ground to catch up to. So I had to. I mean, back in my BSc, I was one of those few that was sort of blessed with, just coasting through lectures and then only reading at the end. But I just quickly realized that this was not something I could easily do. You know, I had to make sure that I was engaged right from the get-go, you know, and that's what I started doing, I was engaged in my practicals, I was reading every day, you know, and I was going beyond. And obviously because I quickly realized that, you know, I had most people that were doing that program, there was sort of a level of expectation that you needed to have a good foundation in a computer science and whatnot. So I had to spend a lot more time, you know, getting more of that knowledge, so to speak. All right. Moving over to the halfway house. I call it the halfway house because this was, end of my first my master's, you know, I'd done my first had very good grades, you know, really, really excellent, and was really, really interesting. And I felt, you know, I was well on my way to success. You know, I hit a couple of snags, you know, but I'd found a way to overcome them. You know, I'd understood myself and understood my reading patterns, and it was excellent for me. Moving on over to the dissertation. You know, I started the dissertation in January 2009, and for me, it was a very, 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 very different experience because I had to. This is a dissertation that had heavy practical elements, you know. So I had to demonstrate something, you know, and I was paired with a supervisor, you know, and we were working towards a particular dissertation, you know. But halfway down the line, I quickly realized that, you know what, this was my dissertation topic could not, so to speak, be finished within the master's length. It was literally a PhD topic, So and I needed to actually make sure that I finished it. So what I quickly did was I made the bold decision. It was a very bold decision to pivot to another dissertation topic. And I remember this day. Remember this day. My university is right by the city, by London City Airport. I remember this day very, very clearly, very vividly. I was walking down the riverbank, and I was totally bothered, just wondering what am I going to do, But I just sat down there, watching the planes take off, and I know, what, I'm in a new continuing environment. I must not let this, take a hold of me. So I made a very bold decision. I need to start again. Had a chat with my supervisor, and we were able to, move on to a dissertation topic that was really, really, really good. And it was quite awesome, And it was very bold because I was starting this, halfway through. Other people had almost completed their master's degrees, their dissertations, and I was starting halfway through. But I was able to quickly rescue that situation from being very ugly. Okay, and then graduation happened. Had family around. I had a very good sense of achievement. I felt that I'd started something and I completed. And for many of you here who are doing your masters, that's the same sort of achievement I want you to look forward to. That look, you started something and you will complete it. And that's a goal. That's a goalpost that I want you to look to. But then also, while you're doing that, you need to look beyond that. And there I was sort of thinking beyond that. What do I do? I was in an era where, equally like you, where there was a post-study. After your master's degree, you get 2 years work permit. And I quickly understood that. Look, I needed to get a job. So this was me just wondering how I was going to get a job. And if you move to the next slide, I'll run through my job experience. So while I was doing my master's, and this is one of the important skill set I think everyone needs to have, about asking around, looking for information. I remember I was searching through the university job boards, and I found a job that was advertised. And funny enough, it was a friend of mine. I actually had applied for it and was called for the interview. And this was the last day of the job being advertised, And I was like, I was in two minds. Should I apply for it? Should I not apply for it? I decided to just go ahead and apply for it. And I was called for the interview. Went for the interview. Both of us went for the interview. And at the end of the day, I was taken and he wasn't. That's a story for another day. But it was that experience, within the university. So I was working within the planning department within the university. That was my first launchpad into the workforce, so to speak. It was a good 6-7 months, of me, getting my hands dirty with data analysis, working with a lot of application packages, and understanding the world of higher education. So this was the higher education industry, so I gotten enough experience. I was able to prove myself there, and that led me to my next role. But just before I finish up with the other career, my other career path, I just want to talk about this. Position yourself for the future. So this is very important because I've come up with sort of an acronic, that which is leave, which means leave, and this is some of the things that I held on to, and what does L mean? L means, you need to look beyond the current season, because it's never constant, so here I was doing my master's, wondering how I was going to actually get ahead to the future, get a job, but I was able to just have that picture representation of the future. I knew that the future was going to be bright, but I needed to look beyond my current season, because you could spend enough time in just wondering, oh, how am I going to get a job, and just be totally depressed, But one thing you need to understand that, seasons of life are everly changing, very dynamic. Nothing remains the same. Whatever you are, wherever you are right now, it is a season, and the season will come to an end. So I want you to look beyond. And this was something I was able to do. The next one is I means immerse yourself in community. I was very, very big in community. I don't. For many of you, I don't know if many of you are of a faith-based background, but I think community is very important. I was able to join a community, where I was able to fellowship with other people. These are people who were, students or people who are already working, and that provided me the right leverage to be able to have a positive mindset about the future as well. So invest in making sure that you are actually immersed in a community, you actually engage, and not just there for just for their sake, but you being contributing to that community itself. V means your skill set and knowledge will become ultimately your value. You need to invest in your skill set. First course, the first job I got was working as a planning assistant, and I was able to develop my skill set. This was the building blocks for my data analysis career. So your value ultimately is your skill set. You need to invest in it, be it certifications, be it exams, be it studying, invest in it. All right, and then E means learn to build memorable experiences over the course of your academic journey. Travel, eat out, and just live. And this is very, very important. And this is something that I personally didn't do enough of. But looking back, it's something that I think a lot more people need to do. So while you're cooked up within this your postgraduate world, postgraduate season, learn to experience life, go out, eat out, have fun, because it is, like I said, it's a season, and that season will come to an end, but you need to create enough experiences for your memory bank. All right. Can we just go to the next slide, please? Right, so this is my work experience. I talked about the planning assistant job I got, which was essentially my launch pad. And I got this in 2009, and this was very, very, very pivotal for me to getting the next role. I remember when this role finished, I went to university. So it finished on a Friday. I went to university on a Tuesday, and I saw my boss, and he saw, I just saw him on the, walking down the path, and he said, "Oh, you know what? Hang on. Oh, there's another department that actually need a data analyst, and he was actually thinking of me, and because obviously I proved myself, and he said, would I mind going down there? It's only a 2-week job, but would I mind doing it? I was like, you know what? Yes, I'll do it. So there I was, and I became an IT data administrator, and a 2-week temporary job turned into almost probably 5 years, working there for 5 years, and yes, I was working temporary. So again, even if you do get temporary jobs, don't belittle them. These would always also serve as launchpad to your next level. I did this 2-week jobs. Again, I made sure I proved myself, and essentially what happened was that a role was created for me within that team. They quickly realized that, look, they needed me, they needed my skill set, and a role that never existed before was entirely created for me. I applied for it, and I got it. I was there for 5 years. Again, that was a season again as well. I quickly realized this as well, that I was getting a bit complacent, and this is another thing. You need to be very practical and very real with yourself to understand that. Look, understand when you need to move to the next level. When you need to move. And for me, I quickly realized that, look, I was getting very complacent. I felt I'd already sort of proved myself, and I needed more. But I realized that to get that more, it might mean I might need to take a pay cut. And that's essentially what happened. So my next role, working as an MI data analytics specialist, this was me essentially taking a pay cut. So I took a pay cut for this role, but I knew that this role was going to provide me with hardcore, hardcore experience or hardcore skill set, which I needed to forge ahead. So I was there for probably about a year and a half, and then I was able to sort of close to 2 years, and then I was able to move to them, and that was actually what allowed me to be able to move into my consulting career that I'm in right now. And I've worked as a data consultant for between 2015 till now. I've had transferable skills. I've been able to pivot to different industries. I've worked in the private sector. I've also been able to work back in the HE environment. And that's been awesome. So Tyler, can you move to the next slide, please? I think I have a couple of minutes left. Let me see. And I just decided to just bring up this this data analysis career path, and a couple of other points I think would be very, very helpful for anybody that is looking to get into the field of data analysis. This list is not is not exhaustive, but you can definitely have a look at this and reach out to me for more information. But yeah, some of the skills you need to acquire, a master as a data analyst, I think as a basic foundation, Excel. You need to master Excel. You need to be able to take a real life solution or a real life business problem and then think of it in Excel terms, and then be able to produce a solution in Excel, be it a dashboard using formulas and whatever. And then I think, at least in my opinion, the next level is VBA. VBA introduces to an element of coding, and then could be within Excel or Access, but that also then gives you that object-oriented mindset. Coding, where you're working with a relational database. Excel is a very it's not back then it wasn't object oriented, but now with Power Pivot and some other things, you can make it object oriented or relational, so to speak. But VBA coding, it gives you that coding mindset of understanding loops, if conditions and whatnot. And then also the SQL for SQL Server and then Oracle, spending time getting that experience. The MI tools you can get involved in. And these are all things that I have. Just to let you know, there's SSRS, Tableau, ClickView, Power BI, and optional skill sets to acquire, PowerShell scripting, there's .NET development, be C# or whatnot, and then Python and R. Python and R are essentially for people that want to go into data science. That's another level that a data analyst can actually pivot onto, becoming a data science, a data scientist. And then typical roles you can apply for: data administrator, data analyst, SQL developer, data SME, BI developer, MI developer, data scientist. And then some of the resources that help me, the data school, these are web pages that you can actually access. I put some of the pages there. There's Udemy, Coursera. These are portals where you can actually watch videos and the internet you can find anything on the internet, so you can actually watch these things on the internet. There's LinkedIn Learning as well. Nearly everyone has a LinkedIn profile. If you don't, I implore you to get one. You can get headhunted on LinkedIn. I've got headhunted for so many roles on LinkedIn. And then you've got online communities, there's Stack Overflow. This when I was starting out, coding, doing a bit of coding, this really helped me. Stack Overflow is awesome. So it's an online community where if you literally have an issue, any question, just post it there. Someone out there has had that same issue, so you can go there, look at solutions, and then fine tune it for yourself. And then the Stable Public, and there's also Mixed Excel, which is really, really awesome. So is that it? I think that's about it. I think that's it. So yeah, that's it for me.
It's your spotlight, but yes, right on time. Thank you so much, Mr. David Anthony. I thought that was really profound. There is dynamism in first studying and then being able to kind of translate across different fields to kind of land on that career journey or that career trajectory that actually really works and resonates with you personally and fits with your personal motivation. So thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we're going to move on now to the second speaker, our second panelist this morning. Olugbenga David Adebi is a member of the Chartered Institute of Personal Development, MCIPD. He holds a master's in International Human Resources Management, a BA in Business and HR Management, and is currently a recruitment project manager within the NHS. Please join me this morning with delight to welcome David Adebi.
Thank you, Taiwo. Thank you, everyone. I want to say good morning to you all, and it's an honor to be a speaker in this wonderful session of career and succeeding beyond university, put together by Kingswood, London. So just some introduction about myself. I'm a recruitment expert, a recruitment consultant, international recruiter, over 8 years of recruiting experience, leadership skills, management consultant, and project management experience. And the reason why I've done this bit of introduction is so that you can have a bit of a background of who is talking to you this morning. And I think we've got some people who are at the moment studying for the BA or studying MSc or MA, or you're planning on coming to the UK or coming abroad to study. And it's important that I mention the core foundation. When your foundation is solid, you won't get it all wrong. So I think my next topic that I'm going to talk about now is important for you to be aware of. So if you could go to the next slide, please, Dial. So it is important that you have a strong stand on your desire to want to come and study in the UK. It's important that you have that convincing within yourself. Because myself, while I was in Nigeria, I believe, it is my desire to just come to the UK and study. I didn't really rate, I'm not talking down on universities in Nigeria, but I wasn't really fully in Nigeria. And this is a revelation that came to me, that came to my parents. And I started researching on universities. So if you are looking to come into the UK, I would say it's important that you have this desire, you have this revelation, you are convinced that it's your path to come here and study. And before you then do so, you need to research on universities you want to come into the UK to study for. What courses are they offering? What can they offer you? Can they offer you placement? Can they offer you work experience while you're studying? You just don't want the practical aspect. This is what I didn't get whilst I came here to study my BA. I didn't get the practical aspect that some university offers, and that was because I didn't do my research very well. So I'm going to implore you, if you are looking at studying or you are at the moment studying, start looking at options for placements. It will benefit you. It will set you up in your career journey. And also, when I got one thing that helped me when I got into the UK, when I started my BA, I got a mentor. I got a mentor. A mentor could be someone that's done the same course, someone that's gone ahead of you, and you can see that they've been successful doing the same course that you're doing. Or it could be, in my own case, my lecturer. So my lecturer was quite very helpful. He played a positive impact in where I am today. So he took interest in me. He would sit me down, look into my strengths and weaknesses, and he would advise me on what I need to do to kind of up my game. And when I finished my BA, it was one that actually gave me the pathway to say, you know what, go and study and further on and do your master's. So moving on, please, Tyler, to the next slide. So whilst I finished my BA, and as I said, I didn't have the practical experience. I was then given the opportunity to start my master's. So the September, while I finished my BA, I started my master's. And whilst I was doing my master's, I wanted to look at, okay, now I've done my BA, can I get a job with my BA? I did my CVs, I sent my CVs everywhere. And the reply I get was, you don't have experience. And that to me was a stopping block. So I then start looking for what other options. How can I actually get into that ladder? How can I actually make progress and use my BA to be able to do what I want to do in terms of 9 to 5 career development? So my mentor then said to me, you need to start looking at volunteering. And that's what I did. So I started looking at, how can I volunteer? I started speaking to people using the network that I have. And thank goodness I got an offer to volunteer. I wasn't getting paid, but I would do 2 days a week, Monday and then Thursdays, 9 to 5. They pay me my transport and lunch. But one thing I got there was the practical experience that, I've not been able to get whilst I was doing my BA. So after 6 months, while I was doing my master's and also volunteering at the NHS National Health Service as a recruitment coordinator, I got offered a position in the same organization. So it's important that you are flexible and not just being rigid about options that comes your way. So after 6 months doing that role and sometimes studying, I never stopped. I kept seeking for opportunities. Okay, what options are there? I believe I could do more. I believe I want more. I believe I could get something better. I was never settled. So after 6 months in the new post I was as a recruitment coordinator, I got an offer at one of the best NHS in the country, Guys at St. Thomas. It was a big deal for me. I was blown away that yes, this is where I want to be. And thank goodness I started the role, and straight away, you know, my manager took interest in me, and also there was my mentor Dan, who was an associate director of HR. He's a young chap. He also showed interest in me. So I had these two people showing desire to mentor me. So I took them as my mentor. You know, I'll go to them to see, okay, this is where I am. This is where I want to get to. What is missing? What is missing in my skill set? What experience do I need to acquire to get to that place that I need to get to? So they then opened my eyes. While I didn't know, again, I was still doing my master's. They opened my eyes for me to forge ahead in my career. I need to be registered with a governing body. And this is CIPD, Chartered Institute of Development. So if you are looking to pursue a career in HR recruitment, for you to then be at the top of your game, you need to be a member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development. So I then registered my interest. I did some assessments with the governing body alongside my master's, and I became a member. And what other thing they also said to me, which again helped me, was my personal development. So I look at what free training are there within my organizations, within my department, that could elevate me, that could position me to be able to take the next step in my career. So I started looking up the intranet in my organization, and I started putting myself forward for training, leadership training, difficult conversation training, management training. So all these trainings, I just kept doing them. And couple up together, again, after 2 years at Guys at St. Thomas, I felt, okay, I've done my training, I've got my CIPD, I can move forward now. And because I was able to do all this training, I was able to get a new role, you know, higher pay as a recruiting advisor, and with more responsibility and managerial responsibility as well. So while I was doing this, again, any organization I go into, I just look at, okay, I've conquered that. What step do I need to take to move on to the next step in my career? So I set a target for myself to say, the next 4 or 5 years, I want to be a senior manager. So I started looking at, again, what options are there. There was never a time that I never had a mentor in my career journey. So I would always look at someone that's gone ahead of me and I make them a mentor. So in my role as a recruitment advisor, I've been able to practicalize and manage people using managerial skills. And I felt, okay, fine, I can now manage a group of people, coordinators, assistants. I want to be a senior manager. So what do I need to do? And I started looking at, okay, I need to be strategic about recruiting people. I need to have international recruitment experience. I need to be able to manage the workforce of an organization. I need to be able to manage retention. What are the strategies that I need to know? So I started going to courses. I started attending courses. Some of the courses my manager paid for, my organization paid for, I mean. So I went for different courses, you know, and because I was able to go for these courses, work with senior managers, attend meetings, I then got to understand organizational strategy on how to recruit, manage retention, manage workforce, manage establishment. And that got me into that space I wanted to be, senior level, where I could do presentation, write up strategy, and present to directors and chief execs. And that got me into the current role that I am doing now. And I'm really, I can't say that, you know, I didn't put the hard work. So you need to put the hard work, connect with your people, the right people. Don't be too comfortable. Set a target for yourself. One of my targets is, if I've done If I've been in a role for 2-3 years, I want to step up, and that's been my goal and my target. And lastly, you have to be loyal. You have to be exceptional. One thing I found out is in my year of managing people is loyal people are hard to find, and that has, in a way, impact their career progression. I'll give you an example. You coming into a role and you can't seem to, you're not collaborating, you're not trustworthy. You don't want to take on any opportunities that's been offered to you, even if your manager tells you to take on some tasks, you're always not willing to do so. Your attitude is not right within the team. If an opportunity comes out for development, i.e., you need someone to train, they're going to pay thousands of pounds for you to go for your training, you'll be the least to be chosen. And one thing that I've learned is, wherever I go, I want to be a good relationship with my manager. I want to be a good relationship with my manager's manager. And I want not just be a good relationship, effective, loyal, faithful relationship. I want to make change. I want to be the one to do something different. I want to be the one to bring new ideas. And because I've been able to do this day in, day out, some of the courses I did were paid for, was approved by my manager, thousands and thousands of pounds. So it's important that you remain loyal and you're exceptional. So next slide, please, Taiwo. And what are the challenges? There's some challenges that you face at uni, while you're uni at work, and the relationship you have, the company you keep is important. And I think it's important I mentioned this. While I was at uni, when I started my BA at University of Wales, some of the people I met then would ask me, what course are you doing? And when I tell them I'm doing business and HR, and they look at me funny. And they say, well, the course you're doing, I'm not sure you're going to make any career out of what you're doing. And I said, why do you say that? And they said to me, such career are meant for Caucasian people. And that, in a way, got me annoyed to say, I'm going to prove you wrong. And that's, in a way, and I've seen people who, because of they've allowed the things that the people that the caliber of people that they mingle with is really messed them up. And unfortunately, they couldn't finish some of that degree that I finished because they felt this is not for me. I can't really make any progress because of one thing someone has said to them. And I think it's important that you watch the people you associate yourself with. You want positive-minded people around you. And lastly, you need to find the support. When I mean support, I mean if you find yourself in a team and you notice your manager is not that supportive, i.e., he or she is not really driven, they can stop you from shining. They can stop you from progressing. You can be complacent and just sit down to say, okay, yeah, I'm happy, and you can just find yourself doing 20 years in the same role. So it's important that you are aware of the support your manager could give you. And if you find yourself in that position, I'll suggest you start looking at all the alternatives, or just see how you can develop yourself within the space and the opportunity you have. So I think that's it for me. And I say thank you all again for joining. I'll hand over to Taiwo. Taiwo, I'm going to hand over to you now.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you for that. What an amazing session. So there is power in self-belief. I think that's one of the key things I picked up from what David shared there. You need to believe in what you've got, what you bring to the table. And sometimes things might not necessarily follow the path that you hope for it to follow, but persevere. I think I heard perseverance in there as well. And and all things will work together for good. Amazing. Thank you so much for that, Jabin. Okay, we're going to move on very quickly then to our third panelist this morning. Nicolas Ogunda is an information security leader with over 15 years of information security experience in various sectors, including oil and gas, mobile technology, and banking. Nicolas is a chartered manager, a master's and MBA graduate with a number of information security and IT certifications to his name, including CISSP, Certified Information Systems Security Professional, CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker, TOGAF, the Open Group Architecture Framework, CISA, Certified Information Systems Auditor, GIAC, Certified Incident Handler, GIAC, Global Industry Cybersecurity Professional, GICSB, to name a few. Please join me this morning and welcome Nicolas Ogunda. Over to you, Nicolas.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be here with you guys this morning. Hope you're having a lovely day where you are. It's been such a brilliant time so far with great things that have been shared by our panelists, and I just want to, I've learned a lot from what Binga said, from what David said, from what the first speaker said as well, David. And it's such a wonderful privilege to be here. As you can tell by my slides, when you're in information security, you like to reveal as little as yourself as possible. But you already know my name. I'm Nicolas Ogunda. I'm presently leading the information security team for an oil and gas organization. Now, so it's interesting when you have been in a field, information security, I would say particularly now, like myself, for a period of years. And when you start to ask people, and I'm not trying to give my age away by saying I've been in this industry for a number of years, but when you've been in the industry for a while and you ask people, you say, how do you become an information security? How did you enter that sector? Because many years ago, I mean, there isn't anything about information security. I mean, maybe the best you could do is to study computer science of some sort, and then maybe you started working in IT. But that field, information security, was even something that was even thought much about, but all of a sudden, it's a buzzword now that, some people want to be, I want to be a security person. I want to be, and so many, different areas of information security that people generally want to find themselves in. So I'm not be going into the details of the different information security fields, how you can be an information security person. If you have that desire, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to provide some guidance, that can help you and all that. But going back to the story I was sharing, if you ask a lot of people, how did you get into information security? They will tell you, the same story that I think one of our speakers shared. I think that was David Anthony. I stumbled into it. And that's been my experience. Now, by the way, I didn't, so I came to this country, and as you can tell, I'm not originally, from this country. So I came, to this country. I'm one of those people that didn't come through the route of the masters. But obviously, since being here, I've had to, and I'll sort of touch on those. In a couple of so I didn't come here. I was able to come here for work basically. So, but going into what I was saying, I came here. Before I came here, I found myself stumbling into information security. What happened in the place I was working? So I finished uni like every other person. I didn't even study computer science, nothing even remotely related to computer science. But there's something, and that would take me to nugget one that I if you can go to the next slide, nugget one that I just wanted to mention. And what I'll try to do is to try to cement some of the things that I've learned as a result of the years, my working years, and the program that I've learned. A lot of people, some of the things, your background can help you a lot in some of the things that you can do in the future. And I'll try to clarify what I mean by that. So I finished uni. I mean, I had almost like I didn't know where I was going. But one thing I was able to do was to look back to what my childhood, what my upbringing is like. And I used to tell people, I said, sometimes when you are struggling, go back to where you are from. Go back to where you started. There's some decisions about our lives that we didn't get to make ourselves. They were made for us, so to speak. I don't know anybody here that wants to tell me that they chose their parent. They looked and said, this is the parent I want to have. Or they chose their upbringing and said, this is the upbringing I want to have. And I tell people, go back to, usually when things seems a bit unsure and unsteady, go back to the beginning. Go back to things that you didn't have to make a choice about, that was doing for you. I was fortunate that I was in a family or a parent like that, that it was very technical. It was very always doing stuff. So somehow I sort of knew that I wanted a technical background. But like every other person, sometimes you are more pressured by the needs of the moment. So you want to get a job, you want to just move on with life, and that's what exactly happened to me. But that's upbringing, I was able to reflect back on that upbringing and look at it, this is something that is part of my life that I really love. You know what, let me try to do something about IT. So what I tried to do was try to reinforce myself in IT and do some learning journey, and I'll touch on that in a couple of slides forward. But did some learning about it, and I found myself in this in a bank and in IT actually. And then they needed someone. I was the new B person. They needed someone. They were like, we have this security device, this thing that looked like security, but nobody even wanted to do it. And they look at you and say, what are you even doing? You're new here. You have my friend, just move to that sec. Okay. I was a new person. I couldn't challenge anything. I moved into that space. And before you know what was happening, more responsibility came. The person that was sort of leading the unit had to go. It was moved. And I stepped into that shoe, and I became more or less like a security person for that particular company. Now, a few years later, when I was now transitioning and I'm coming back here, a lot of people discard things that they've learned. They downplay some of the experiences that they've built over the years, and sometimes try to reinvent the wheel. And like one of the speakers said, sometimes you just need to look within and look to your past. A lot of people, they've been part of associations that, it could be a church, it could be a mosque, it could be a society where they've given so much to. They discount that. You look at their CV and they discount it. It's like it doesn't really make any appearance on their CV. And there's a way you could polish those things and build on those things that you've already done. And that's exactly what I did, leverage the experience that I brought in, took it into this particular place. And when I was able to polish it, and I was able to leverage that and apply for a job, of course, I was blessed, that I got accepted into a telecoms company by leveraging and just polishing what I've done. Some of the things I've done, I've been involved in a capacity in a technical capacity in some of the things I've been doing, setting up things. I was able to polish that, and I want to encourage you. Sometimes you might think to downplay some things because you don't think it's applicable to where you're going, but don't do that. Every life experience that you've gone through can have an impact, can help you in life. It's just a way of packaging. If you need help, reach out. There are people that can help you to package your experience, and they can help you to sort of, polish it in a way that you can present it. Because at the end of the day, your experience is unique. And there's a way it can be tailored to get you from where you are to where you go. So for me, that's one of the things that helped me transition from where I was to obviously where I am right now, in terms of being able to establish myself in the place where I am to become, what I am right now. The next thing I just want to touch on is about, I'm sure when you were reading my profile, I was deliberate about it. I don't usually, I go to my LinkedIn profile, I don't have too many of my, what I have in there. But there's something about investing in yourself. A lot of our speakers have touched on it. And especially when you are in a sector like information security, or when you have a desire to be in a sector like that, you need to be current. You need to stay ahead of your game. I put something there, I say certifications they are not the be all and end all. I don't get intimidated because you have a long list of certifications that can include everything. It doesn't intimidate me. And if you're a manager, it doesn't intimidate you when I'm recruiting and I look at people's CV. Certifications are not the be all and end all, but I can tell you one thing: they get you through the door. It's important, and I congratulate you if you're here and you're already, thinking about improving yourself. This master's degree, you're thinking of doing a BA degree, a master's degree, a BSc degree. I congratulate you, because one of the things that get you through the door is the development you've put into yourself, the certifications, the degrees. They are not wasted. They're not things that, some people think about how much they've spent, in terms of, improving themselves. I could have bought a house. Yes, then I used to think that my master's money, that's a deposit for a house. But yes, no, it is. But the investment in yourself is worth all the while. It will carry you through. There is that thing that nobody can take away from you. So I want to encourage you. When I'm recruiting for a role, I was recruiting for one of my security leads a while back, and one of the questions I asked them, and I'm like, how do you keep yourself current? I want you to be telling me how you are improving yourself, how you are developing yourself. You have to be telling me that, okay, I have followed this person. And there are many ways of keeping current in this day and age. I follow this person on this platform. I'm following this Slack channel, this and that. And those things are essential, because at the end of the day, they help you, to stay current in your game. What I also want to say is that, it's good to invest in yourself, but get people to also invest in you. There are lots of resources around. There are a lot of resources. You don't have to pay. I mean, I was glad that the previous speaker I was talking about, his investment that he got his company to pay for. There are lots of investments around. There are lots of money flying around. So you don't need to pay for everything. My degree, my MBA, I didn't pay a dime for it. It's a testimony, and I give God the glory. I will not take that away. But get people to pay for your investment. People have money that they can help pay for your investment. And sometimes you even have to educate companies, organizations to help you. With my company didn't know that they could actually sponsor me, that it's possible. But what I did was that, I put my pen to paper and did the research. There are the information around that can help. So all you just need is to help the organization to help you. I met to my company, I wrote a business case. I said, you know what, it is possible. This is possible. You can do this for me. I wrote a business case, tell them this is how much it costs ordinarily, but by knocking this off, this is how much. And they were so happy. Oh, so this is possible. And I opened the way for the organization to be able to sponsor other people. Invest in yourself, but also beyond that, get people to invest in you. There's lots of money flying around. One other point I want to clarify is, the power of learning teams. A lot of people, and if you are from the global north and Africa and all I understand some of the reasons why these things are. People have been challenged to fend for themselves, to defend their interests, to protect their interests, to guard themselves. So people want to succeed alone. They want to be the star. They want to shine alone. They want to, be the person that people, but you know what? Let me tell you something. I love that you said, work alone, work faster. He said, but work with others, work farther. When one is too small to achieve anything big. I love that word from one of my mentors. One person is too small to achieve something big. In one of the things I loved about my degrees, especially degrees in countries like in the United Kingdom and other countries, is that it's not. There's an individual element to it, but there is more group element to most of the things that you have to go through. You'll be paired to work with people. You'll be in a learning team. I was in a learning team, for my degrees, and those learning themes, they are now bonds that are almost forever. I would say almost, they are forever. We still have a WhatsApp chat, we still talk, we still chat. But do you know what I want to tell you? My grade, I had good grades in both my degrees. But I want to tell you something. My best grades were the grades where we were in a team. When we were in a team, it just seems like ideas flow. People cross-check with one another what's happening. People were able to challenge one another. I challenge people, they challenge me. And before we know what's happening, we write papers that lecturers are marking and saying, where did you get this from? That is what collaboration can do. I want to encourage you, if you're doing it, don't do it alone. A lot of people, speakers have touched on it. Don't try to be a local champion. Don't try to be the one that wins in isolation. Work with people. There is more skill. There is much knowledge that is in people. And if you can leverage whatever learning teams, as you started degree, they might put you in a team. If you can leverage that group, leverage that team, I can assure you that you will pull out resources that will improve yourself. Your standard will be raised because you'll be challenged. The Bible, which I want to quote, says, iron sharpens iron. When you work with people, it sort of sharpens you. And when you relate with people like that, they can jack up your thinking. So I want to encourage you, take advantage of learning teams or learning groups. They will do a lot for your career. Sometimes you're feeling tired, you are feeling like you can't go on, message one of your team, and they might be up for it. We've had assignments before that the two other group members couldn't do much. Most of the weight was carried by myself and one other team member. But when we finished it, we passed to them. We said, "Can you review it?" And they reviewed it, make some few corrections, and then we scored a 7-something A, because your group will always be there to carry you. Don't try to be a local champion. And I want to just end on this last note, and I hope in the question and answer we'll have opportunities to also provide more context. But it's already mentioned here. I want to encourage you, get knowledge, but with all you're getting, get experience. I'll mention it in the past point that I mentioned. Knowledge is good, certifications are good. If you can get something to stamp that you know something, it is good. The reason I like certification is that you learn through it, especially if you go for the training. But then at the end of the day, you get something almost like to say, okay, you actually have passed, or you've succeeded in application of these things, or being able to know how to apply these things. But experience is so important. And I want to implore you, a lot of people, they've already said it, so I'm just going to belabor it. Look for opportunities to get experience, and I don't downplay any experience. You function in a local team, you function in a charity organization, in a mosque, in a church, in one of these places. Those are experiences that you could tailor and you could apply to what what you are presently doing. In my field, information security, there are so many spaces, right? There's so much skill shortage that we are looking to skills, to people that don't necessarily even have technical background. We don't need you to have an IT background. Don't have IT background. Don't have engineering background. Just have skills that is transferable. And there's so many skills transferable. Psychology is transferable. HR is transferable. Anything about risk is transferable. All of those skills are able to be applied to information security. So we have, there are roles like psychology, security, human security, securing the human, someone that understands human and is able to help them, because some of these attacks, cybersecurity attacks, is actually taking advantage of the weakness in people. So we're looking for areas that, that can help people to understand the impact of cybersecurity, human information security. There are areas that has to do with just writing governance papers. You don't even need to be technical. You just need to be able to know how to write. You need to know how to write, read, understand, and write. There are lots of opportunities and roles. So I want to encourage you, don't downplay any experience you may have. There are so many opportunities to leverage that experience, but also find a way to get involved. I mean, David Anthony said it, first speaker. Find a way, and I think it's also echoed by David Adebi, second speaker. Find a way to get involved, and those experiences, they will come to bear when it's time to look for a job, when it's time to design your CV and to think, to put in some things that you have been involved in. You'll be able to leverage on those experiences, and they will get you to the next role. So I want to thank you for this opportunity, and to just encourage you. It's a wonderful and a privileged opportunity it's a wonderful and a privileged opportunity to be in taking this course, whatever course it is that you are doing, because I know that some people they aren't clear exactly what they want to do, and when I tell people, I say don't let your course define you. Don't let your course define you. Sometimes, like I said, I didn't study anything about computer or related to, but I did have some, background, like I mentioned earlier, about computer. But when I tell people, I say, don't let your course define you. Let your interest define you. There are so many ways you could cross into, and let me just take security further. Like I said, there are so many ways you could cut into information security nowadays. There's so many opportunities. When I'm recruiting for a role, I'm not looking for whether you have BSc in computer, whether you have BSc in this. No, I'm not. I'm looking at how pliable, how easy to learn are you? Some qualities like being able to be analytical, You know, are you research oriented? Do you like, you know, and I'll put it in the hide and seek, being able to search for something, you know, because a lot of security, think about it, security is more about almost like playing good cop, bad cop. There are bad guys out there that are trying to do harm. There are good people out there, hopefully you are one of them, that are trying to help to discover those people that are trying to do, you know, but so those experience of being able to look for something, paying attention to detail, investigative mindset. I just don't want to accept when I'm told that this is the answer. Why is it the answer? Inquisitive mind. Those are the skills that are essential when you know, in a sector as ours. And because there are so many opportunities open, we're not limiting, careers aren't limited to what you study in uni. You know, I don't care if you study languages, you study you know, physics. We need you. You know, we need you because there's so many varieties, you know, that we could incorporate and bring in. You know, one area of security that is actually, you know, that's gaining momentum right now is what we call OT security. Now, a lot of people, you know, what is OT? We're talking about, and I'm going to a bit of a technical part now, but we're talking about operational technology. So that is Internet of Things. That's like your computer, not computer, fridge connecting to the internet, webcam connecting to the internet, you know, baby monitors connecting to so many things connecting to the internet nowadays. And so much skills and resources are needed. There's so much devices connected to the internet that we need lots of people to protect them. But there are different areas that people can specialize in to be security. You don't need to be configuring firewall. You don't need to be technical and be able to, you just can be making policies. You can be a policy maker and say, you know, I want to specialize in that area of designing policies for people. Just write the governance paper, let people, you know, follow that guidance or that policy. And that person might say, you know, I like catching back. I like trying to investigate why things are happening. Then we have Security Operations Center, where theirs is just to be staring at a screen and be doing analysis and trying to say, okay, I see this going to this place and this going to this place. Why is it happening? And they are going to the root of the problem to try to find out who is doing what, why are they doing it, when are they doing it. I need to catch them, or I need to detect, you know, that. They are Security Operations Center. They are like the intelligence. In fact, that's even a different area. So they are the Security Operations Center. It's also the intelligence area where you are just going out there to gather intelligence and to give it to the security operations people to help them to make decisions. So there's so many opportunities. And I mean, I again, I say, you know, my LinkedIn profile, you know, is my name. If you want to know more about it, you know, if you're especially interested in cybersecurity, and you know, there are things that could help. You know, I mentioned Internet of Things someone was asking what are the new cybersecurity trends that people can study in. Well, trends, Internet of Things is a big thing. OT security, I mentioned OT, Operation Technology Security. That's covering things like, you know, I work in an oil and gas, so OT is a big thing for us. If we talk about it, OT, we're talking about life at risk. So think about vessels that go to the sea to drill. You know, live. You don't want any accident happen. You don't want tanker blowing up. You don't want the vessel blowing up. But there have been attacks in time past where hackers were able to infiltrate or to enter a particular one of those vessels and try to blow up the ship. So you can imagine that kind of thing happening. You don't want that to happen. But you know, at the end of the day, those equipment that they use on the vessel, those machines that drill the oil out of the ground, those things that people look at to ensure that every machine is working properly, they are all in quotes IT enabled. So you can imagine there are opportunities for bad people, hackers, to come in and to try to disrupt and cause problem, you know, for an organization. So we're always looking for OT security, someone that has knowledge of how to be able to protect. You don't even need to be security. You will learn the security on the job. But if you know anything about, you know, how to interact with those Internet of Things, they're a good opportunity to step into the industry right now. If you know anything about, you know, writing, you're a good writer, you can read and understand, and you know how to relate with people very well. Oh, lovely. You could be an asset in information security, because we're talking about the human being at, I don't want to say the weakest link in the chain. So we're looking for opportunities to help help people. And one of them would be people that understand people will help us to achieve better security. So we're looking for people that understand people, HR consult, whatever you can cross from different fields into information security. The opportunities are there. So it's been a good time, just passing on this information. I look forward to the question and answer if there's any more information I can provide. But again, if you want to follow me, or you need some guidance, happy to take any questions or any friend invite on LinkedIn. Over to you, present. Thank you.
Wow. What an amazing session. I mean, I just want to pause there for 10 seconds to say a huge thank you to our 3 panelists already. It's been amazing. I mean, there's notes, don't win in isolation. Don't be a local champion. I heard the way you said it was different, but what I heard was your tribe will carry you. And I think sometimes in the workplace, it's important to recognize who those people are that are willing to sing on the same song sheet with you and celebrate your successes. And when things are not working, help you and support you to, whether through mentorship, whether through partnership with you, to fix some of those problems, but help you to make a real positive change. And then get knowledge, get experience. Don't downplay any experience. I think sometimes when we transition from study into career, sometimes we tend to be a bit, I think, more picky than we should be. And so we look at things and think, oh, no, maybe not for me. But you just never know. That manager, 10 years from now, might be the person that will just blow up your career. So thank you so much, Nicolas, for that. Okay, I'm going to move on now to the 4th panelist. Just a quick heads up, everybody. We're going to have Dr. Idoko, who's a lecturer in prosperity, innovation, and entrepreneurship and program leader for the MSc, Prosperity, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship. She's also a research associate at Imperial College Business School, and she studies organizational, entrepreneurial creativity and innovation outside of work. Dr. Idoko enjoys running, hiking, and exploring museums. I'm going to welcome Dr. Idoko in about two seconds, but I just want to add that once our 4 panelists have spoken, we're going to take a short 10-minute break, and then we'll come back for a full panel discussion. So we're going to have all 4 panelists together talking through the points that they've spoken to earlier. It is going to be amazing. I've heard them talk and discuss and engage and share ideas, and you are really in for a treat. So without further ado, please join me as I welcome Dr. Onya Idoko.
Thank you, Taiwo, and thank you to the 3 speakers that have gone before me. That was truly amazing. I wish I had heard this as well when I was a student. Taiwo, could you please go to my slides? Thank you. Okay, good. So as Taiwo said, I'm lecturer in prosperity, innovation, and entrepreneurship at University College London. I'm also the program leader for our MSc PI, so that's the same title as I have. And I work as a research associate at Imperial College Business School. And there, my team and I, we study entrepreneurial resilience and recovery, and also the link to economic recovery. My research focus, or the area where I study or I focus my research on and my interest, is within organizational and entrepreneurial creativity and innovation. So I study the creative process, and I particularly am interested in the role of emotions within that process. Next slide, please. So here's my session outline, and this is normally what I would do when I'm teaching. I would give the students a sense of where it is that we're going. So today I'm going to talk about modules. I'm going to talk about module delivery, engagement, and participation, and I'll talk about assessment and feedback. And my goal today is to give you the insights or sort of tips that will help you succeed in your studies. So we've heard from previous speakers, they've talked about what you need to focus on or the things that you need to think about in terms of transitioning or when you leave university. But now we're going to come back to the university setting and look at some of the things that you can do to help you succeed in your academics. Next slide, please. So what I'll say is start with a goal. And what this means is when I was a student and when I came to the UK to do my master's, I knew before I left Nigeria and before I left Nigeria, I already had the goal that I must have I must finish this program with a distinction. I don't want a merit. I don't want anything less. I must finish with a distinction. Now, when you have a goal and you know that that's what you're aiming for, that means that you can work backwards and determine the kind of work, the kind of grades you need to achieve that. But if you go aimlessly, you come to do a master's, you don't mind, the river will blow you or the wind will blow you in any direction, basically. But I came here knowing that I wanted to get a distinction. That meant that I had to get an A. So for me, it was get an A in every single module. Now, how did I do that? I made sure that I engaged with other students, and I'll touch a little bit on this as I move on. I made sure that I looked at other assignments. So there are different things that you can do to help you succeed in your work. So I'd really encourage you, start with a goal in mind. What do you want to get out of your master's? It doesn't, this shouldn't be restricted to the intellectual side and the academic side of things. What do you want to get in terms of, do you want to build up leadership skills? Do you want to network? Do you want to take advantage of some of the support that the university already provides that are available to students? Just as David mentioned, so the second David, he talked about either the second David or the first David, they talked about how they started off working at the university, if I'm correct. So he got sort of a job working within the university. I had the same experience as well. So I worked as a student ambassador, and that allowed me to work with so many other students. So take advantage of those things. The next thing that I'm going to touch on is hybrid models. So I'm talking now about the delivery of modules. Many of you would have this at your universities, but at least at UCL, in my department, we do a mix of both online and face-to-face. Not everyone is accustomed to online. Most people are used to face-to-face. And the reason why I'm talking about the hybrid model is because the way that it will be delivered is different from the traditional way where you sit in class and the lecturer is just pouring into you. It's different, at least at UCL, it's very different. At UCL, the learning is now on your, like it is your job, your responsibility. There's a lot of independent work that is required for you to succeed. And this goes to the next point, is synchronous materials. What that means is that usually your module leader or your module tutor would have prepared materials for you to work through. At least that's the way it happens in my department. So there will be videos, there will be journal papers for you to read, there will be activities, there might be mini projects, seminar activities that you have to actually do in preparation for the class. So it's not that you just walk up to your class and the teacher is just pouring information into your head. It's not that way anymore. The level of independent study that is required has gone up. So you have to do that preparatory work, just because then it allows you to engage in the discussion when you get to your live class. And that's how we run things. So I would encourage you, read those journal papers, work in teams. So I'm going to touch on what Nicolas said and the other speakers mentioned. He said something. So Nicolas said something. He said, start a learning team or something like a study group. Start something, because pedagogically, so this just means theory of teaching. This is just the learning, the theory behind learning and teaching. It talks about, studies have shown how when students form groups or partnerships, so like study groups, reading groups, project groups, they enable each other in that you learn from each other very quickly. You can also help each other personally. So I would advise you, start a study group, take a journal paper, take a project, work together on that project or assignment. And I'll touch on plagiarism, because that's also important, because we've seen students work together and then at the end of the day, you find out that the work is exactly the same, what they've submitted, and that just causes a lot of trouble. So form those study groups. They are powerful. They will help you succeed. The next point is start thinking about your dissertation early. And this is something that I tell my students, don't wait until semester 2 or term 3. If you go by terms, start now to think about your dissertations. And I've said this to my students, and a lot of students are already coming to me with ideas that they have for their dissertation, because you can start to read the literature. You can start to ask questions about what you want to work on in the classroom. Ask your module tutor, ask your module leader. If you leave it till the last minute, a dissertation is not something that you can just write last minute. And one of the speakers talked about how this is the first David. He said when he was an undergrad, I believe, I think he said something to the effect, he would coast, just go listen, coast, and then you pass. When you move up a level, your thinking has to move up as well. So some habits that served you before will not serve you at this higher level. So obviously, I believe that what David was saying is that's how he did it at undergrad. But when it came to the UK, things are different. Now you have to adjust. Now you have to change your mindset. Now you have to change your thinking. The learning is different here from back home, at least back home meaning Nigeria. Here you are expected to do additional work. Here you are expected to read, even go to the reading list, go beyond the reading list. And I'm going to talk a little bit about critical thinking. If I don't talk about this title, please be sure to nudge me when I get to talking about essays, because this part is very important in terms of in terms of the difference between getting an A in an essay and getting a C. And this also applies to your dissertation as well. And then the last point that I have there, sorry, I'm just checking my time. Last point is self-awareness. This is something that, for me personally, I think it's powerful. The more you know yourself, the more you know what your strengths and your weaknesses are and how you operate. And this speaks to whether you work better in the daytime or you work better at night. This also speaks to combining school and work. So combining university and working. I tried to do it when I was a master's student. It didn't work for me at all. I could not focus on working every day and doing my studies every day. And I asked myself, back to the goal, I asked myself, did I come here to do a side job, or did I come here to get that distinction? And that goal helps you to stay focused on the path. That way you're not distracted to the right or to the left. This is where you're going. Next slide, please. So now we're going to go into engagement and participation. In class, one of the things that I found or I noticed about myself when I was a student, fresh from Nigeria, you're a little shy or hesitant to ask questions. To be honest, with time, I realized the more I ask questions, the more I actually recall the answers. So the more the tutor asks a question and I put my hand up and I try to answer that question, the more I actually learn and retain the knowledge. So I would encourage you, ask those questions. No question is too stupid. If you're thinking it's almost 100%, 5 or 10 other people are thinking the same thing. So ask your tutor the question. If you don't understand something, stop them and ask for clarity. Contribute to class discussions. So when there's a class discussion going on, the more you contribute to it, someone says Taiwo says there's slight crackle in your mic. Okay, bear with me. I will switch to, I'll just switch off my.
Is this better now, Taiwo? Okay, great. So contribute to class discussions. Don't sit quietly when there's a discussion going on. So perhaps you're discussing a paper during a seminar and you're talking about the gist of the paper. or you're talking about, you're having a debate with each other about critically, going through this argument that perhaps the journal paper has presented. Make sure that you engage in those class discussions. Teaching and learning has changed for good. Like, the pandemic has transformed so many things. We're not going back to a didactic approach. And by didactic, for example, that's what we're doing now. We're talking at you. It's going to be more interactive. Students are going to have to carry a lot of the load if you want to succeed. My next point is ask for help. Ensure that you ask your tutors or your peers for help. Wherever you feel you're struggling, perhaps you're going into a new field like David. So the first speaker, he went from biochemistry into IT. This is a new area for him. If it's a new area for you, ask for help. This was the same for me. My background is in physics, but I came here and I studied a master's in engineering project management and then a PhD in management. That was not my background. I'm more quantitative than qualitative. So I remember one of the things that helped me was talking to other students, sharing, being vulnerable, asking for help, not just asking your tutors for help, but asking your peers for help as well. And then teamwork is the next point. Work in teams, and I've talked about this already. I'm conscious of the time. Taiwo, next slide, please. I don't see my points. Thankfully, I have my slides here, so I'll just work with my slides.
Can you see my screen still?
Sorry, say that again, Taiwo.
Can you see my screen still?
I can see your screen, but I don't see any points. So it's blank. It just has essays at the top.
Oh, okay.
But it's fine. I've got the slides open anyway. So with essays, what I would advise you to do, and what I have on my slides, is fail fast and iterate. In fact, if you want, I'll share, Taiwo. So hopefully you can see my slides.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. Thank you, Binga. When you're doing your essays, I advise you fail fast and iterate. And this is just coming from the entrepreneurship and the lean methodology. Some of you might be familiar with the lean methodology. And it's about build, learn, build, test, learn. Write your draft of your essay. Take that draft to your module leader or your module tutor and have a discussion with them, or an outline of the essay. Have a discussion with them so that you know if you're going in the right direction or if you're going in the wrong direction. And one thing that's offered is there's formative feedback sessions, which technically every module should offer. So within our modules, there will be opportunities for students to actually get formative feedback from the tutor on their assignments before they actually submit the final piece of work. So don't just go to the tutor or module leader empty-handed. Have a draft, even if it's just an outline. Have something written that you can take to them and they can see concrete work. And they will literally then be able to tell you, oh, that's not what I meant, or that's not the direction that you should be going in. So I'd advise you to make sure that you do that. And then be aware of plagiarism. For many people that come from different countries, when you come to the UK to study, many people don't know or don't really practice or are cautious when it comes to plagiarism. So copy pasting from some other piece of work into your assignment, that is plagiarism, and not acknowledging the source. That is plagiarism. So I'd advise you be very careful when you're doing your assignments to acknowledge your sources. Taiwo, I believe I'm in the previous slide. I'm here. My next point is ask for help. If there's a learning and development team, go to them. Most universities have that. Most departments have that. If you're in engineering, I cannot speak for engineering. I'm only speaking from my experience, at least at a business school. there will usually be a learning and development team that you can go to. And one of the benefits of this team is that they can run through your assessment for you. They can read the assessment. They can tell you if you're going in the right direction or not. You can even practice some of your presentations with them. At least in my previous institution, most of the members of the learning and development team are linguists. So that is their background. They'll talk to you about critical writing. This is where I want to talk about being critical. So when you're writing your essays, especially, and again, I'm not referring to anyone who's in engineering, because of course I don't believe you'd be writing essays. But for those of you that are in a business school or school of management, when you're writing your essays, it is important that you are critical. If you've submitted any piece of work and you've had feedback, one of the feedback might be, this work is descriptive, it is not critical. There's a huge difference between being descriptive and being critical, and the marks will tell. The more critical assignments get the A's, the less critical it is, you will most likely get a C, or if you're lucky, you might get a B. So I'd advise you, find out, again, the learning and development team can teach you about critical writing, about doing critical reflection or critical evaluation. And I'm using terms that would feature in your assignment. So they might ask you, do a critical evaluation of XYZ, or critically reflect on XYZ. When they use that word critical, they mean don't be one-sided. Don't just read one perspective of the work, but come at it from different perspectives. What are the positives? What are the negative consequences of whatever it is that you're evaluating? Next slide, please. And this should be the last bit of what I talk about. You will normally have a marking criteria. There will always be a marking criteria that goes with every assignment. Your assignment would have been introduced to you at the start of the module. I advise you read the marking criteria. Most students don't, but read it. The truth is, when I'm marking, I have 3 minutes left. I'll try to run through as quickly as possible. When I'm marking, I will always use the marking criteria to mark the work. And if you don't follow the criteria, if you haven't met the criteria, you can't get the grade. I can't even justify giving the grade if you haven't met the criteria. So make sure that you have clarity in terms of what it is that the assignment expects of you. And also, one of the things that the marking criteria will do for you, and I'll show you an example of a rubric very quickly. One of the things that the marking criteria will do for you is you can self-evaluate your work before you submit it. And I'll show an example of this very soon. So here I have that the rubric is a marking criteria. It has a weighting in it, and it has the different levels of performance. So if you're aiming for that A, or you're hoping to get an A+, however they grade you, the rubric will help with that. Next slide, please. So here's an example of a rubric. This isn't what we use, but this is just something I pulled off the internet, just to give you a sense of how I would mark, or any of your module tutors would mark. Now, this assignment, there would have been an assignment, and they've broken down the different aspects, the marking, what we'd be looking out for. The first is understanding of knowledge issues and knowledge questions, quality of analysis, the characteristics. So these are sort of the different aspects we'd mark for. These are the different levels of performance. So I'm moving my mouse, but obviously you can't see it. What you have in the first column are the different aspects that we'd mark for. What you have across the rows are the different levels of performance. And what you have at the top is sort of the weighting. So you can see excellent, very good, satisfactory, basic, elementary. Let's take the second one, quality of analysis. The first one, which is where you get excellent, it says that the argument is clear. It's supported by effective real-life examples that are effectively evaluated, counterclaims are fully explored, implications are drawn. That is an excellent piece of work. If I see those things in the assignment, that section is getting an A for sure. But then let's look at the end. So the elementary work. And now we're looking at quality of analysis. So if you move to the second row, the last column, second row, accessions may be offered, but not supported. That person is getting a D. So you can literally take the marking criteria and self-evaluate your assignments before you even submit. I believe this is, no, I think I have one more slide. Taiwo, next slide, please. This will be my last slide. Feedback. Once you've submitted your assignment, the grade has come back to you. Read the feedback. Students tend not to read feedback. Always read the feedback, because then you can identify areas for improvement. Schedule a meeting with your module leader or tutor. Take advantage of their office hours. Ask them if the feedback is not clear to you. Find out from them, what does this mean? What does critical mean? What are you looking for? What should I have done to get an A? So those are some of the tips that I have for you in terms of succeeding, and I hope that they've been helpful. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Onya. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to invite all the panelists just back on the virtual board, virtual screen. So if you could all please turn your videos on, please. Nicolas, David, and everyone on the call, please, I just want you to help us give a round of applause to our panelists this morning. I think those sessions were amazing. I think when Dr. Onya does this, I always think about the rubric. And, you know, I think about back to my days, I say like it was 60 years ago, studying, and how, you know, I knew what the rubric was, but I didn't like take time to really digest it and break it down and try and understand what I wanted to do. So I'm probably one of those students that gets through school on academic merit, but if I did a little bit more, oh God knows how much further I could have gone. So please join me to give a virtual round of applause to all of our panelists this morning. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time. So in terms of next steps now, we're going to take a very short break. We're going to reconvene here at 12:40 BST. And then we're going to open up to a panel discussion. So the 4 panelists you've heard from this morning are going to talk about all of their speaking points this morning. You're going to hear a really lively debate and discussion around some of the points that they've talked about this morning. So if you haven't...
Taiwo, can we stop sharing? Thanks.
Of course. Thank you for that. Yes, there we go. So now I've lost everyone. Just give me a minute and I will bring everybody back. There we are. So we should have everybody now, I believe. Yes, so we should have all the panelists on now. Thank you for that shout out. I've lost my train of thought now. I was saying the panel session, yes, it's going to be amazing. We're going to reconvene at 12:40 BST. So just take a comfort break, grab a cup of tea. Please don't dial off. Genuinely, believe me, the panel session is going to be amazing. If you thought you've heard nuggets in their speaking points, wait till they debate and kind of talk between each other about some of those talking points. So yes, we're gonna go on a short break now, and I'm gonna run a poll in the break. So please just help us take a few seconds to answer those questions. Thank you for your engagement, Temitope Oluforoye, Tawa Adebi, Colette McKinsey, Olumide Elvis, Abby Emmanuel. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Jide Lion, thank you. Enuwa Adetutu Potoki, Oluwaseun, I can't see your surname. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for your thumbs up and your hand claps. Okay, good. So
Are we back at 12:40?
Yes.
Okay. So
12:40. Short comfort break. Tea. Whatever rocks your boat. Thank you, everyone. Okay, welcome back, welcome back. Just waiting for a couple more people to come back online and then we will get going. If you haven't answered the questions to the poll, please help us do so. We'll be very grateful for your feedback. We're just edging towards 50%, so a few more people completing the poll will be great, and then I can close it and we'll move on to the panel session. So if you haven't completed the poll, please help us do so in the next 30 seconds. And then I'll welcome back the panelists. So a couple more people completing the mid-session poll will take us to about 50%. But no, the feedback is absolutely awesome, and huge credit to all of our panelists. Okay, I'm going to end the poll now.
How can we access the poll?
Oh, it should have come up. It should have popped up, Colette.
No, I haven't seen it. Where?
Are you on a mobile device?
Yes, I am.
That's probably what it pops up, but then if you don't respond to it, it just goes away. Okay, we'll have another one towards the end of the session anyway, so you have a second opportunity to give us your feedback as well.
Okay, what was the question?
The question on this particular poll, it was just whether you're enjoying the event, what you're liking so far, and do you feel like you know more than you knew when you joined the call this morning?
Of course, please, yes.
Wow,
it's amazing. I literally wished I had this about nearly 30 years ago when I studied. I'm just listening for my children who are doing their masters now, and it's just amazing. So I'm just screenshotting and sending it off to them because one of them is at work, but one is actually on. So it's just absolutely amazing.
There's one step better. This is live on YouTube as well. So we'll send the link out.
Oh, brilliant.
If you've registered for the event, we'll send you the link so you can watch it back in all of its glory.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much. I'll share it with them actually. Thank you.
Thanks.
Brilliant. Absolutely amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for that feedback. All right, welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. I think we're all back. So I'm delighted to welcome back our panelists this afternoon. First on that list is David Anthony, who's a data consultant with over 11 years experience in both profit and not-for-profit sectors, providing business insights organizations to data-focused industries. Speaker 2 is Oluwagbenga David Adebi, who is a member of the Chartered Institute of Personal Development, IPD, and he holds a Master's in International Human Relations Management. Speaker 3 is Nicolas Ogunda, who's an information security leader with over 15 years of information security experience in various sectors, including oil and gas, mobile technology, and banking. And Dr. Idoko is a lecturer in prosperity, innovation, and entrepreneurship, and program leader for the MSc Prosperity, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship, and a research associate at Imperial College, London Business School. So, thank you so much for sharing your career journeys. Thank you for sharing those tips around, succeeding in postgraduate studies, Dr. Onya. So I'm going to come to the panel with a number of questions, just to get the conversation going. So the first question I have is, can you share with us or emphasize where people can actually go to find job or volunteering opportunities in the UK? David, can I come to you first, please? David A.D.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Daryl. So there are many channels that you can find volunteering, but what I'll advise is you also need to identify which sector or which industry you want to volunteer in, or you want to work in. So based on that, you can then start looking on the internet, speak to people. Like I said, if you have any mentor, speak to them and they could direct you. However, there's so many information on the internet that you can actually find beneficiary for yourself. So that's the advice I will give.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, David. I work in financial services as well, as I said earlier, and I find that LinkedIn, I think David Anthony mentioned this around LinkedIn being a really good platform to find anything really. And I think certainly in that career context. So I think for me, there are a number of opportunities that I've also forwarded on and shared with people. So organizations that specifically target Black and minority ethnic individuals for roles. So they will have opportunities to volunteer, opportunities to do kind of internships, and some of those short-term things that can really propel or boost your career. Nicolas, can I come to you from a kind of data cybersecurity perspective, what are your thoughts in terms of how people can find opportunities to volunteer or, break something in a good way, if we put it in the cybersecurity context?
Yeah. So before going cybersecurity, let me just be a bit more generic. I wanted to just, David has said it brilliant, something brilliant. I want to just, there are a couple of such opportunities. I think if you're a student, particularly, I want to encourage, you could check with your school. Now, schools usually have opportunities for to volunteer and to do stuff. So, it might just be getting involved, in leadership role. Those are very good opportunities to lead people, to be your ear captain, whatever it's called. Just get involved. The opportunities is cool. You want to also check with your local authority. If you're in a place, you could just walk in and say, is there any opportunities to volunteer and do stuff? Some of them you may not get paid, but it's not about now. It will pay dividends in the future. So feel free to also work to the local authority that you might be in. Then also, if I want to encourage you, work with your heads, looking up, not looking down, because so many opportunities are on signboards. You might just see, assistance needed, this required. So if you just look around as you're working, you might just spot an opportunity. Feel free to work in. David said something about knowing where you want to be. Sometimes while you are on the way to where you want to be, you might just want to do something on the way, because what I've noticed, it's easier to change something that is moving. If something is stationary, you need more effort to get it moving. But if you're already doing stuff, actually more jobs come to those that are already working. Volunteer opportunities come to those that are already volunteering. So if you look around, you will see stuff. And I will also chip in, there's so many places to volunteer. If you are members of a charity organizations, or some people mosque, church, 90% of who I am today, I give credit to the it's my church. It could be mosque for you, it could be any society that you are part of. A lot of the skills that most people can learn is free. There's opportunity for them to learn it free in a place that you can be a member of. So just look around you to see where you can, volunteer opportunities. Specifically for security, I think, online, I'll first of all say, it would be good if you know someone. And David says something brilliant about mentor. Some mentors, some opportunities just rotate around some circle. And if you know people that know people, it's easier to actually reference you for that kind of role, because you're probably coming in not with experience, but to learn. So, when you have people, mentors or people that you connect to, they can give you a prods up. I also want to say, just, get interested in cybersecurity, do some little learning. David mentioned LinkedIn, some free YouTube, even YouTube, just know some little things about it. Your job may not start off as information security, but you can develop it and put an edge of information security on it, and they will start to consider you when it comes to cybersecurity stuff. My job wasn't really cybersecurity when I started. It was some level of security, but I started to increase my profile. I started to advise people around security stuff. I started to recommend stuff. When people start seeing you show interest and prefer solutions, you will start to create a niche for yourself and an opportunity for yourself. And people will start to reckon and think about information, you in the light of information security. And lastly, you can go online. There's so many opportunities to just internship and all that you can take advantage of. I'll stop there for now.
Oh, wow, fantastic. Thank you so much for that. David, Anthony, or Dr. Idoko, is there anything else you want to add on that particular topic that hasn't been mentioned already?
For me, I think I'm just going to be echoing the same things, but yeah, definitely communities. If you're part of any organization, just try to apply yourself within that organization. And you can learn a lot. You can pick up stuff that you've never learned. You can push yourself to learn new things, and these are things that are transferable. And you can actually put on your CV. And then the world. I mean, right now the whole world is sort of going agile. You could find ways. In what you're doing currently to start identifying agile approaches. If you want to start, if that's the line you want to actually go into, but these are things that you can actually put on your CV and say you've actually done. Also, I remember when I was back when I was working, looking for a job. I used to just walk around looking for roles. But yeah, everything is online. You can there are loads of learning and link resources that you can actually find to be able to get volunteering opportunities at your school, wherever you're at. Yeah, so it's yeah, it's looking really bright.
Thank you so much. And just when you were speaking there, one of the other things that popped into my head was the employee-led networks within organizations. I think as individuals, certainly people of color, we tend to downplay the power of some of those networks. But that community, sometimes you can ask questions in a safe space, and people are really willing to help because they understand your lived experience and your journey.
I mean, just before you rock your next person, I mean, yeah, the power of mentors is really, really awesome. I mean, I have loads of roles that I've actually gone for where it's a mentor that has actually put me forward for some of these roles, and I've never even been aware of it. I would just get a call saying, this person, spoke of you, mentioned you, and told us that you'd be a right fit for the job. So mentors, really, really awesome. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, David. Okay, moving on. So the next question, and I think it's important to emphasize that, even within the conversation that we're having now, there are so many things that we can learn. There are so many nuggets of information. And I know that a lot of people have already reached out to me privately, about taking notes and things. But I encourage everyone to please take notes and also note down your questions. So straight after this, we're going to have a full Q&A session where you can actually ask the panelists, including myself, any questions at all. Okay, so I'm going to move on now to the next question then. And I'm going to come to you first, Dr. Idoko. Can you share with us the one career or postgraduate study decision that you wish you didn't take? So what is the one career or postgraduate study decision you wish you didn't make? This is looking at how you repivot challenges potentially into what has now become a really, really fruitful career.
It's not necessarily a decision that I regret not taking. It's more the mindset that I had. So I remember when I was finishing up my PhD, I was worried that I didn't have enough industry experience because, of course, I'm coming from a business school and I was thinking, okay, I'm going to be teaching students. And I thought, surely I should have industry experience and combine that with the theory that I know, and then I can teach. But I learned something. Sometimes some of the information you have is actually not right. And it's in interacting with people that have gone before you, back to that mental point. It's such a powerful thing. In interacting with them, they will correct, they'll help redirect you. So that was my thinking. I'd finished my Viva. I was in Vancouver for a conference, and I shared a cab with a senior colleague. Well, he was already an associate professor, and I was a PhD student finishing up. And I shared a cab with him to go to the venue for our next presentation. And I started talking to him about this. I just opened up to him and I said, here's my worry. I finished now. I don't know what I'm going to do next. And then he said to me, that's not true. Like that thinking that I needed industry experience. He said, that's not true. He had industry experience, but he said, you can still do the job whether or not you have industry experience. Just go for it. And that taught me that when I'm of two minds, especially to do your career or whatever thing that you're working on, it's good to speak to someone that has gone ahead of you, and they can share some wisdom with you, which you clearly are missing. And that's why you're in that space. So I hope that helps.
That's great. Thank you for that, Dr. Idoko. Can I come to you, David Adebi, please?
Thanks, Taiwo, and well done, well said, Dr. Idoko. So for me, I think it would have been the information my mentor told me towards the end of my BA. If I had known that at the beginning of my BA, I think it would have, in a way, made a positive impact in terms of my career progression, and I would explain that further. So enlightenment that I got whilst I was finishing my BA was that, you can start doing volunteering. I never knew I could volunteer whilst I was while before I started my BA. And if I'd known this earlier on, i.e. when in my first year, I would have probably started looking for volunteering work. And in a way, it would have probably set me up. Again, this is me thinking, what could have happened, or what decision that I may have taken, which could in a way enhance me earlier. So I think knowing this information, like Dr. said, having people to talk to, having a mentor around you, having the right caliber of people within your setting earlier on would really pave the way. And the earlier the better for you. So this platform, I believe, would bless someone. So yeah, that's for me. That's me. Thanks, Tara.
Thank you, David. David Anthony.
Yes, so mine would be very straightforward. Getting a mentor. I didn't really sort of understand the importance of getting a mentor. Although I got one late, I got several, later on for each specific thing I wanted to go into. But I think if you can, while you're studying, especially along the career path you've chosen, get a mentor. Get someone who's already there, who's already in that field that you want to go into, and he will teach you he or she will teach you ways how not to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to slug it out, trying to do things your own way. No, these people are there to help guide you. It's very, very important to get things right the first time. So yeah, it's getting a mentor, hugely important. If I had something I could do all over again, I'll definitely do that.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. And Nicolas, please.
Hi, yes. So I think the mental stuff stood out to me. I think one of the earlier mistakes that I felt I made in my career, this is more career related now, is that I think I was what's the word? Not as prepared as I should have been, and I'll try to say what that is. I felt I attempted too much while I was half-baked, while I was not ready. Now there's a particular role that when I look back, it's almost like I keep, especially when your colleagues that you did together, you see them at a level where you're like, why did I not do what they did? It was just sheer lack of, I was not as matured as I should have been in that scenario. It was for an organization that, I had all the qualities that it seemed like they're looking for, but I haven't learned how to attend interviews. There are basic things that, that if you learn, or if you like, the guys have been alluding to some of this. I'm so by mentor, I have to say, it's some of these things, but we were just aware, how to dress while interview, how to represent yourself in an interview, how to do all of those things. It was such a good opportunity that once you land the job, people like that, you just in the next 5 years, 7 years, you just, directors and this, and I just completely wasted the opportunity, and I look back to it, and it was almost like, can I just turn back the hand of time, just to change that, just to correct that thing? But thank God, we keep saying God has been able to still use that to still move us forward. But for me, it's not being prepared enough for an opportunity when the opportunity came, and I missed the opportunity. It's just the short of it.
Wow, that is so powerful, and I think it's credit to you as well for sharing that, because sometimes it's really difficult to be that introspective and put your hand up and say, that role, I think it didn't go really well. And I see what some of my colleagues have gone on to do in that team or in that role. And, if only, but there is also power in learning and taking those things that didn't work really well in that particular scenario and kind of repivoting it to make sure that you don't make those mistakes in further roles. But no, thank you so much for sharing that. That is so profound. Okay, we're going to move on to the next question then. So this is still kind of on the studying, kind of pivoting into career frame as well. And the question is, how did you keep yourself motivated despite some of the hurdles and challenges that you have faced? How did you stay motivated in that place of study, despite some of the hurdles and challenges you faced? If I share a bit about my story, so my BSc, my master's, both I studied whilst I had a family. And so it kind of presented a different ask of me as an individual, certainly in terms of my time, in terms of my finances, in terms of how I focused, and I went on to complete both my BSc and my master's as well. And I think for me, if there's one thing that I want to kind of leave people with, is there are times when people will say to you, you can't do this. Like they just say that simply without knowledge or appreciation of the totality of who you are or the complexities of what make you who you are. And I think as individuals, we must always strive to rise beyond that, you can't do this, because if you really try and you really push yourself, I am a testimony that you can do it. And it is achievable. David Anthony, can I come to you first? And then David, Dr. Onya, and then Nicolas, please.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's actually a very good question. So how did I keep myself motivated? During some of the hurdles that I'd faced, while studying. For me, I could easily say three things. One is my faith. I'm unapologetically, a Christian, and I think for me, my faith was a very, very strong point, just keeping me, remembering some of the promises, biblical promises of how I would prosper, and then I would go from here to there, so me holding on to them was really, really, really very important, and was a mainstay. I remember, I think it was this point in time when I was working and studying at the same time. I remember one day, I think I was going to camp to uni, and I was dead tired, and I was just soliloquizing to myself, on the train, how, God's promises are holding me and keeping me, so faith was very important. Second one is, community. I've talked about community. Yes, being a part of a community is really, really helpful. Community of people, like-minded people, be it a church or mosque or whatever. I think that's just very important. Where you can get that support, you can lean on other people's arms. Have people just talking to you and encouraging you, and then just spurring you on. I think that's very, very important. When you hit a roadblock, you can find succor in people, so to speak. So don't be an island. Just try to find community. And the family last one is imagery. I remember a story of someone, someone told me. I'm sure most people have said these stories in one form or the other about some guy who was while he was doing his master's, how he kept himself motivated was that he did a cutout of how much he had paid for his school fees, and I put it on his ceiling. And anytime he felt tired, when he really felt tired, he'd just look up and he'd be like, "Oh my God, I need to get back to my books." So as hilarious as it sounds, imagery is really, really important. Be it just you getting picture representations of where you want to be, even while you're going through that season, or just having something that you can latch onto. It does strain things to the mind. It helps you have strength of focus. So yeah, vivid imagination. That really helps.
Wow, thank you, David. You heard it here first. Make sure. Before you said that, I was looking at the ceiling. That is so profound. If I put up the cost of my master's or BA on the, I'm sure that the ceiling itself will probably fall down. But no, thank you for sharing that. Dr. Onya, please.
Thank you, David. That was really funny. And it really does motivate you, to be honest. So for me, it was having a goal. I talked about this as well. During my master's, I knew what I wanted to achieve, and that kept bringing me back. Like whenever something would try to distract me, that would bring me back. And then I'll just talk a little bit about sort of personal goal. So for me, while I was doing my PhD, at that time, my mother died in the middle of, so I was in second year when she died. And of course, our dad had died, mom had died, all funding gone, because I was an international student. She was the one funding all of this. It's a whole backstory. But when she died, that for me was the ultimate motivation, because I said to myself, this was our dream. This was her dream. This was our dream together. And there's no way I will stop. I remember my supervisor saying to me, do you want to take an interruption of studies? Stop, gather yourself, get your thoughts together, look for some funding. And I said to him, no, I can't. I just can't stop. I have to keep going. I remember some of my friends, so other PhD students, one of them said to me, how are you able to keep on going? How are you able to still function? And to be honest, I said to him, I think he's a Christian. Yes, he is a Christian. I must have said to him, it must be the prayers of people in my church and friends, because even I don't know how I'm still moving on. So for me, it was my mom, and this is my personal motivation. It was making sure that I got that PhD, whether it killed me or not. And I think something David said in the beginning, so David Anthony, I'm one of those people, when I have a goal, I'm like a bulldog, like that's it. And so I was very antisocial when I was a student. I didn't meet anyone. I didn't really go out to places. And I remember other PhD students, they would come to the office and say, oh, Anya, let's go and do. And then someone said, oh, don't invite her. She never goes anywhere, And that's just sort of how I was. Like, I've come for this thing. Until I get it, I cannot allow myself to be distracted. So I think that's also linked to my personality anyway. So that was sort of the motivation for me.
Wow. Focus, like don't get determination. That's amazing. Can I come to you now, please, Nicolas?
Yeah. Oh, lovely stuff. I know those things resonated with me. I think it even gets a bit more challenging if you're having to mix it with other things. Some people, maybe you have, funding, and so you don't really need to work. And so, the funding is there, just focus on your studies. I think it does help a lot to help you to focus on it. But when there are other commitment as well. For example, either you're paying the fees yourself, you need to mix it with work, or you are working while you're doing the same thing. I remember when I was doing my program, I was working as well. So I was working and a full-time work, and I was also combining with master. So sometimes the brain is just, it's just like I've used up the capacity of the brain. It's like, I don't have any, anything to give again to the work. And some of those times, I think it's my dissertation is a good example where to come up with a topic, I struggled. I was just like, I told my spouse, then I said, I need to practice it up. I can't do it again, But then she was just like, give it a try. I think one of the things that helps is, I hope you are studying what you like. I hope what you are studying is something that it wasn't something that you were either cajoled to do, or something that it was just you had no interest in, because that does a lot to you. If you are doing what your heart is in, you get a bit of motivation from it because it is something that you want to do. And I think it resonates with what people's personal goal. If it comes from you, if it's your decision, you're already halfway there. You already have a bit of motivation to do. But I would say, in addition to what David and the rest have said, what helped me was also something that Dr. Oyam mentioned in one of the sessions. I will paraphrase the same. It's about failing forward. Don't say I can't write and then stop at I can't write. No. Don't do that. Don't let that be acceptable. When you can't write, just write a sentence, write a paragraph and leave it there. The next day, add another paragraph. What I've noticed is that when you make progress, you will make progress. Progress begets progress. If you start to see yourself make progress, you will start to make progress. If you stop at the point where you said, I can't do it, it leads to procrastination, and the more you procrastinate, the bigger the task gets. So I would say we will all come to that point when motivation will seem lost. What I want to tell you is that when that motivation is lost, just write a paragraph. Write a paragraph and go away. Come back again, build on that paragraph. You may not understand it. It may look like gibberish. Don't worry. It may even be like you're copying what someone has written. Copy it and paste it there. I'm telling you that once you start to make progress, things will start to change and you will be able to come back and re-edit what you've done. I've submitted assignment thinking I lack motivation and I scored fantastic scores. So I tell you, you can do it. Just press on, build, fail forward, build on the momentum, and you will see yourself getting that motivation back.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. And I can tell everybody on the call, I'm a testimony to that statement he made about write the first sentence. Because I was writing my master's dissertation when COVID hit, and I literally hit a wall. And I remember Mr. Nicolas saying to me, I will just start writing. And then the whole book, actually the whole however many thousand words came out after that. So thank you so much for sharing that. We're going to move on now to Q&A. So if you have any questions, can you please post your questions either in the chat window, or if you raise your hand and then indicate that you'd like to ask a question. But we're going to open up. We've had a comment from somebody watching virtually to say that it sounds like we have a lot of mature type student conversation going on, but I think there are nuggets. There are a lot of things that young people can also pick from this. I think Minister Nicolas articulated that very well just now, talking about, failing forward, being that self-motivation, encouraging yourself. And Dr. Onya spoke about, finding the things that actually make it pertinent for you. So for her, it was her mum, but you find what actually makes that course of study important for you. So we're going to move on now to Q&A.
There's a question here. It seems that I don't know if it was it seems like a direct message from Enua. If you don't mind, I'll read that. Can you see a question there? Because it looks like
no, I think it might be a DM to you. So please, yeah, you can share.
Okay, I'll read that. I'll read the question. So it said, thank you, Nicolas, for an insightful session. What career path would you advise a data science MSc student that intends to marry it with information security in the long run? I think, first of all, you don't need to leave, and that's what I advise people. You don't need to leave what you are doing presently. You can actually, the best information security people are not people that started studying information security people. I can tell you that for free. The best information security people are people that brought experience that they had. For example, I told you before, some of us, we started either as desktop. I didn't mention that I was doing desktop support. I was doing networking. So there are different aspects, application development, the people that are doing scripting, that's where what they were doing. But then they had interest in information security, and they were able to pull that experience into and then start to just develop the skill. Because at the end of the day, think about information security. It's just about defending something. What are you defending? Actually, what you are defending is the thing that people are already using. So the computer that they're already using. So if you're in desktop support, and I may be going into more technical terms now, if you're in desktop support, you're already in networking, or where you control routers and switches, or permit me, they are just the devices that are used in organization. If you're already supporting some of those things, data scientists, you said, for example, you're already into data science, mining data, being able to understand how data works. Those are skills that information security actually needs. So that experience already puts you a step ahead of most people that are just starting out in information security, because you know about those people. So what then you need to do is start to see how you can improve what you know about security. Because you already know a lot about data scientists. Start to build little knowledge about. You don't need to know a lot. I tell you this, you don't need to know a lot, but start to build your interest in cybersecurity. It seems like you have interest in it, and I always encourage people, make sure you have interest in, and not because it's a hot market. There are so many hot markets. You can make a hot market for yourself in any sector. You don't need to. It doesn't need to be information security. But if you have passion in information security, then start to build your knowledge in it. LinkedIn is a free learning tool. So David mentioned Udemy that you can subscribe to. YouTube, there are so many things you can learn. I would say start to learn, expose yourself to training in information security. SANS offer good course, but they're quite expensive. So I would say, trainings that are not like, maybe, for example, CompTIA, this kind of courses. I would say things like cyber. One of the certification I have is CISSP, is Cyber Information Security, Cybersecurity Professional. What it does is that it covers all the domain of information security, and it exposes you to all the different aspect of information security that you can start to learn and know about. Because at the end of the day, there's so many aspects of information security. You just need to know where you want to exercise your skill. But I think the fact that you already understand that data science, or being able to ingest data, lots of people that I know that have data science background are able to leverage that in what I call cybersecurity operations team, because they like data, they like going to data. So, and that's what that allows you to do, to investigate data, to come up with trends in data, to come up with, attack patterns, what is happening in the organization in a cybersecurity operations center. That's an area that people that have your kind of background do. But if you want a person that you can just, connect with me, I'll be able to provide more information. But I want to just increase your exposure to information security. Attend free courses that you can leverage. And beyond that, if you can pay for some courses, because when you sit in a class and you pay for it, it makes a lot of difference as well, because then you can be able to have that one-on-one interaction. And then just submit your CV. There will be someone that will look for that skill that you have, and just with the little experience of information security we have, and will need that particular skill, and you just start out from there. I hope I've been able to answer a question, but feel free if you need any more clarification about that.
Wow, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Nicolas. Do we have any more questions or raised hands? Does anybody want to ask a question directly to the panelists? Okay, I think I can see a raised hand. Let me just, all right, Tawa, do you want to unmute and ask your question, please?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you so much, Kingswood London, for setting this up. Thanks to the speakers, very powerful, mind-blowing. I feel truly blessed. My question is around mentorship, because I feel like it's very important to get the right person. You can get a mentor that would sow a seed so powerful that would mess up your future. And so if you can just provide an insight on how to get the right mentor that will, be positive and just impact your life positively. Thank you.
Whoever wants to take that, please unmute and let's go. David, Mr. Nicolas, Anya, David.
Yeah, maybe I'll go first. Yeah, obviously, I think the key thing is identifying someone who is already in that field that you're in, and I mean these are people that are tested and trusted, who have results, that are showing for themselves, So I mean, let's even call it fruits, fruits of all their labor, and you can see it, I mean, Bible says by their fruits you shall know them, so you can actually see what they've done. You can see how far-reaching it is, so that's so it's about identifying these people, and this could be people within your work environment. It could even be people on LinkedIn, you could follow people on LinkedIn, and then approach them. Obviously, there are ways on how to approach them. You can't just send a message to anybody, but you could. I mean, if you wanted to approach someone on LinkedIn to be a mentor, I mean, what I'll do is I'll first follow the person and then engage with some of their posts. Make sure that I'm engaging, I'm liking, commenting on that, and then at some point, just maybe even if they have a session, virtual sessions, attend them, let them know that these are one of the people that have been following me and commenting, and then you reach out to that person, and then explain where you want to go. And the key thing about mentors is that you have to do the chasing. You have to do the chasing. These are people who have got some little time on their hands because they're very, very busy. So if they're going to take out time to actually mentor you, you need to actually ensure that you're committed, committed to actually following them up, committed to doing exactly what they've told you to do. So some of them will actually ask you to write up goals, short-term, long-term goals, and then it might be very intrusive. I remember my mentor, how when I had a session with him, it almost felt very intrusive, where he wants to dig down. dig deep down into my current plans, where I'm at right now. But you need to be able to open up to them so that they can actually see you, in your raw state, and then they can then help, move you forward. But yes, I agree. Getting the right person is key. But which is why I said, these are people you'd actually see some of the results, see what they've done, and then you will be naturally attracted to such people.
Just to echo what David said, also, you also need to do some assignments. You need to do your research. You need to ensure that whatsoever advice they're giving you is not to ruin your career. So you need to verify or vet the information that's been passed on to you. So you can do you can register with the governing body. If they're giving you any information, you can go check it out. You can do some research. You can have 2 mentors. You don't need to have 1. You can have 3 mentors. You can have 4. And then once someone is giving you one information, if you're not really confident about them yet, you can verify from other mentors, and this is how you then manage yourself. And when you see any sign that a mentor is not really giving you the right information, you don't need to be your mentor. You can just move on to another mentor. So you don't need to have 1. You can have several mentors.
I want to add to what both Davids have said. One is in terms of choosing the mentor. So when you're picking someone, for me, I think it happens naturally. And I think you would already know the type of person. So when David said, do your assignment, I thought he was heading there. So in a way, yes, you do your assignment because you've already, for example, assuming that I wanted David Anthony as my mentor because he's doing what I want to do, I already have a relationship with David. I already know the type of person David is. And so I already know that, okay, I can relate with him. I can trust the information that he's giving me. There's already something on ground. And the other thing is that, so for example, with me, my director in the office, it doesn't even have to be official. Like you don't even have to say you are my mentor. It can just happen naturally. With her, I watch how she leads the department. I watch how she runs her company. And I ask her questions. I ask her she's a professor. I ask her questions. How do you do XYZ? How do you do that? And she will take time and explain to me the process. I don't need to tell her you are my mentor. It will be awkward, to be honest, but I can ask her questions and take advantage of the relationship that I already have with her. And then the second thing that I want to add is that mentoring can happen indirectly. And this is something that I learned from a friend, which is that a mentor might be someone like John Maxwell, someone far off, and you buy their books. They've put their experience on paper for you. Get their books, read their books. People have done things that we want to achieve. They've written a book. Get the book, follow their work. As David said, follow them on Instagram, follow their Twitter posts, engage with them. So I think those are the points that I wanted to share.
Sorry, I think, I said exactly what I wanted to say. I would just to echo, there are people, your organization actually is a trove of mentors. Others, you may need to go and look and do that. But if you're already working somewhere, there is likely an opportunity for you in that organization. So I would say look around you and looking what. My organization just they did something recently, and not every organization does it, but they just started this mentoring stuff. And I jumped on it and quickly applied for it. And I was paired with my line manager's manager. So who's like the director, the CEO, like almost like the of the company. And I was like, oh, lovely, but not every organization formalize it, but there is already a trove of assets in your organization. So if you can leverage it, just look for someone that you like. You can even reach out to your HR and say, oh, is there any mentoring opportunity that they can? And you'd be surprised. They might that might ignite something that say, okay, yeah, well, let's start something. And that's also one of the opportunity. The only other thing I want to mention is that, also you can be mentored by people that are very younger than you. So sometimes you need to be humble. You have to be humble because, this is not, and if you have some people from global north and all that, sometimes, age is a big thing. You need to drop all that guard and know that there are people that are far younger than you that can be your mentor, and you have to submit and be humble. So, thank you.
Okay. Right, here we go. Wow. I can't see any further questions in the Q&A. So I think I'm going to invite Pastor Emmy Akinlaja, who's the senior pastor of Kingswood Church, London, just to take about 30 seconds to a minute. Firstly, to thank you all for joining us today. Share a bit about some of our other initiatives that we run as part of career development, as part of supporting individuals, regardless of whether you're part of the ministry or not. And then just to please enjoin you all to stay on, and we're going to run a poll at the end. Actually, I might just run that while Pastor's speaking, just so that we can get feedback on the session today. Over to you, Pastor Emmy.
Thank you very much, Taiwo, for moderating Sabu 2.0. And I want to say thank you to all our panelists and our speakers who have done an absolutely brilliant job today. I mean, earlier this year, I was just thinking about university students, especially people who are coming from different parts of the world, who are new to the United Kingdom, who are paying loads and loads, thousands and thousands of pounds. I know people in the UK also pay thousands and thousands for their postgraduate qualifications and studies. You know, but I was just thinking about the fact that when I was going through this myself many years ago, you know, I had opportunity to learn from people. Like we're talking about mentors, have experiences, connecting with lecturers. I had those opportunities, right? And I've just been thinking, there are lots of people who come in and they don't know about this. People don't have plans. They don't have goals. They just want to come and get a degree. Some people are thinking about relocating to the United Kingdom. They have plans to build their career after their master's or postgraduate qualifications. And it's like, there's a way to do this, right? There's a way to get that first job, even while you're studying, to get that second job, to secure opportunities, to meet people that can help you get established in the United, help you succeed at uni, and then help you get established in the United Kingdom after you've got that qualification, right? And you don't start this at the end of your degree. You start from like day one. You prepare before you even get into school to succeed, right? And I said, look, if we can just pull some people together who have this experience, who are successful, everybody that is speaking today is somebody who has failed in the past, who has succeeded, and they are successful today. I mean, Taiwo was one of our speakers in the last session we did in April. Dr. Onia was there as well, you know, and I said, look, like we've shared today, coming from Nigeria myself, having completed my first degree in Nigeria, and coming to the United Kingdom, I was like, oh my goodness, this is a different educational system. This is a completely different approach to what I'm used to, right? It's like, I need to relearn how to go through school. And I was like, look, we don't just want the professionals to come and tell us about, you know, how to get the jobs and stuff. It would be great to actually get an academic to come in and just unpack that difference for us and tell people, how can you succeed? This is what we academics are looking for, right? So as a student, you know what they're looking for. You can be more determined, more purposed, right? And you can plan to actually get that distinction. Distinction is not difficult. Succeeding in the United Kingdom is not difficult. You just need to know how, right? And everybody here said, look, they are open for you to connect with them. You know, these are potential mentors. People are like, where do I get a mentor? How do I know a mentor? Well, I can recommend these people to you. Whether or not they're in your field, they can mentor you to succeed with whatever it is that you're trying to achieve right now. And maybe they can even open a door for you to meet mentors in your own field and in your own area, because they know people outside their field and outside their sector as well. So I want to encourage everyone to connect. And I also want to thank you for coming, because, you know, when we started Sabo, I said to Taiwo, I said, look, even if just 5 people come, if we can help transform the trajectory of their success in the United Kingdom, I will be satisfied. But we've had, you know, I think we've had maybe close to 100 people now go through Sabo this year. And I'm really excited about that. And while we're going through this session, and Colette, thank you so much for your feedback that you shared with us. Even though you're not able to do that first poll, hopefully you can do the second poll and tell us more. You know, but that's the kind of thing that excites me. That's the kind of thing that gives me joy. When Colette was talking about her kids, you know, who are doing the masters now and how much, you know, she's found the session, I was like, we want to get more people in succeeding at and beyond university. We want more people to learn this. We want more people to experience this. We want more people to succeed. At the end of the day, that's the goal. We want more people to succeed. It doesn't matter where you are in the United Kingdom studying. We want more people to succeed. We want more people of color or more people of different backgrounds to really get to the top of their sector, to get to the top of their field and shine, because we know that you're going to pay it forward, right? Sometime in 2 to 3 years or maybe 5 years time, somebody's going to invite you to speak. Maybe you're going to even speak for Kingswood London, Sabo, like 2025 or 2027, right? You're going to be like, oh, I don't mind being a speaker and just pay this forward, right? Help somebody else succeed, because the world is changing. And if we can help as many people as we can to succeed in their field, I believe it's a great, great thing that Jesus wants us to do. So this is Kingswood London as a local church in the southeast of London saying we want to give to our community. We want to give to the United Kingdom. We're here and we want to help people succeed in the United Kingdom. So once again, I want to thank everyone that is on Zoom. I want to thank everyone that is watching on YouTube as well, or has been on YouTube. You can connect with us. We've put our social media links on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, especially on YouTube. You can go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. We are going to do more of this. And then one thing that is on my heart, that has been on my heart in the last week, is setting up a mentoring program, a Kingswood London mentoring program. So I'm sure that the guys who have spoken today will be happy to be a part of that. And we're going to open the platform up so that people can connect to mentors, and we can connect people to mentors who can really help them in their field as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. You are the first people to ever hear it. It's just come out like fresh, right? So congratulations. Now that I've said it, we have to do something to make it happen, isn't it, guys? So I really look forward to that. But, people are saying, where can we get mentors? How can we connect mentors? And I believe that we can create a platform to help people do that. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, panelists. Thank you for joining. Taiwo, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, everybody. We've launched the poll, so please, please, please help us complete the poll so that we can run more Sabo events in the new year as well. I want to say a tremendous, absolutely gigantic thank you to Dr. Onya, to David Anthony, David Adebi, Nicolas Ogunda. I mean, you guys have been phenomenal, inspirational. I've been having people DM me about what a blessing this session has been. So thank you, everyone. Thank you to everybody who stayed. I mean, I think this is the most we've had people stay the whole length of the session. So huge credit to everyone who's still here, who joined at 11 o'clock. A big God bless you and a huge thank you. Thank you, Temitope Olufinroye, Oluwadamilola, Colette, you've been amazing. We should connect. Ebenezer, thank you so much, everybody, for joining this afternoon. A big God bless you from me, and looking forward to seeing you all at Sabo 3.0.
Yeah, Taiwo, can you just help us reshare the contact links so that people can, and then you can also, if you write to us at hello@kingswoodlondon.org, if you can type that in as well, hello@kingswoodlondon.org. If you write to us on our email address, we can always come back to you, answer any questions you've got, help you connect with people. We'll be happy to do that, please. So just write us hello@kingswoodlondon.org and tell us you were at Sabo as Succeeding at and Beyond University 2.0, and we'll connect you to any of the speakers you'd like to talk with. Thanks, Dr. Onya. All right, thank you everyone for joining us once again. We're going to leave the information on there for a few minutes before we log off, but thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at one of our events at Kingswood London on a Sunday, or any of the other ones that we hold. We've published the information on our social media platforms, so if you subscribe or follow us on any one of those, see them and you can be a part of them. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, panelists, once again. Taiwo, absolutely brilliant moderation today, as always. God bless you, everyone. God bless you. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Taiwo.
Bye.
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 Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Caleb. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining.